roles. Now, this is another thing that is extremely important. Set etiquette. Not knowing set etiquette can make a lot of people very upset on a production. There are just some things you do, some things you don't. There are jargons that you need to understand, things that you would have normally hear in our everyday world, you wouldn't understand it when you're on the set because it means something totally different. A stinger. If you don't know, it's an extension cord in the real world. So simple things like that, you needed to understand. You also needed to know protocol. When and where and who and what to do at what time. These are some of the things that you will learn when you study production. Now, when you're also in production, you will find that as a makeup artist, your job is to do makeup. The director does not have the time to be looking at makeup. You need to understand that it's a different type of makeup that is being used. A lot of the times the directors don't know that, but it's not your job to understand this. It is your job to watch the monitor, to know, to see when a person is perspiring, when something is not going right with the makeup. The director has to create. His job is to make that dream come alive. He does not have the time to be looking at the lights to make sure lighting is correct. That's the lighting man's job. As a makeup artist, you have a major role. If you think about it, majority of productions, when they have talents involved, you will see mostly waste stuff. Persons tend to look at the faces that are on the screen. When something is off, they're going to pick it up. So now let's go over into special effects makeup. Special effects makeup is not glam makeup. It's different. And at times, a person who's a special effects makeup artist knows nothing about glam makeup. You may have to hire a special effects makeup artist to do a particular job and still hire a glam makeup artist because you can specialize in special effects makeup alone. When I found that we really, at the time, it was also 14 years ago, we'd never had more than one trained special effects makeup artist in Jamaica. That was Geneva Worms. She has since left and she's now teaching in LA. And I came onto the scene because we knew, she said it, I'm not planning on staying here. Somebody else needs to be here. And that is how I ended up learning special effects makeup. I was blindsided by all of what I needed to know. It is not just picking up a brush and putting some powder on. Now, I'm going to give you an idea of what it entails. The directors also need to understand that the preparation process is extremely important. A lot of times when we get called sometimes a few days before. I need to get this, I need that. But what they don't realize is majority of what is used if you're going to be a good special effects makeup artist is not sold in Jamaica. Not here. And as my colleague was mentioning, a lot of what we purchase, it gets spoiled quickly. So even when we had it a year before, we don't have a great turnover here. So when you're ready to use it, it's no good. We need time to prepare. Outside of that, if you even have the material, mentally you need to understand what you're doing. So now, what is the most common thing in Jamaica, special effects artists will be asked to do? Think carefully.
Gunshot wound.
Gunshot wound in Jamaica is not sad. Okay, we're going to use a gunshot. Blood is in there. Sorry. So a gunshot wound, you will get blood, you will get wounds, right? So let's put it this way. It may be a script. If you get a script, you need to read the entire script. So we cannot get the script a few days before. We need to know everything and make notes. If it is sweat, The man is running. The man running for hours and drive. You jot it. It needs to be labeled because you need to have it. It needs to be prepared. However, after doing all this, we need to have a meeting with the director because we then, not sweat, but particular, if it's a bruise, if it's a cut, we need to speak to the director to see. We need his vision. How big, where, what type of knife, what type of, we need all of this because when we're shooting, you cannot be asking for approval at that point. You cannot be going to a director to ask to have that discussion because that talent must be ready when that time is ready for him to be shot. It is not the time to have that discussion. He will run you. Basically, when you go over the entire script, after going through the details, that is when you have to prepare everything. You have to have everything. You have to order what you need. And that may not come in time. We've had that where we have to change up the schedule because it didn't come in time. So let's use gunshot wound as a basic example. Is it a black spot with some blood coming out of it? That is sometimes all the director thinks. I need a gunshot wound. And then we then ask, what caliber gun? Okay, what type of bullet? I had to study all the type of guns that are more popular. We had to study what type of person would use what type of gun. You would not give an AK-47 to a police. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, not in this country.
So you have to be the practical thinker. So even the director may say, this is what we're going to give them, and you have to say, and you have to be careful of how you debate that point, because then you cannot undermine the director's authority also. So then you have to have that discussion because they don't understand some of the things that you're supposed to know. What type of bullet? Is it a hollow point? Is it a round? How? Because that depends on how it affects the bullet wound. Simple as that. So you have to study all the bullets and how they work. One of the bullets will explode in you. One goes all around. One will go right through. And you will have a director say, okay, we want a man shot. Where do you want him shot? In his hand. And then drop down there. At this point you have to say, well, it may be better if he gets shot in the torso. Because usually the man will drop down dead. You get what I'm saying?
Not any time soon.
But it's the bleeding out process. And then that is where you then say, if he bled out, so then that means you're going to need at least a gallon of blood. But then now, let's talk about the blood. Different color blood come from different parts of the body with different texture, different flow. All of this have to be studied. So when you say you want to do special effects and you go on YouTube, it is not a YouTube thing we're talking about. You need to understand what you're doing. Different parts of the body swell in different ways. I have seen it where they have the swelling come in, they put the paper in the mouth. Here's no swelling there, here's no bone. There you go. Things like that. And then now, I have to have a doctor on speed dial. I've had to take pictures. Does this look real? If you're watching it and you're a doctor and you're watching that, you do not want this person to be totally turned off. Have you ever been watching a show, the show goody, 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 good, and when this is something like, really? Really now?
Yeah, I'm married to a doctor, so every time I watch a show, that's not realistic. That's not how it would look. That's
There
not
you go. So it has to look realistic. And then now, I have to have a forensic pathologist that I need to talk to. Because the doctor will know the fresh wound. But how does it look 10 days from now? How does a body look 10 days from now? If it's a cut throat, how would that happen? If the person is strangled, how would the person look? These are the type of things. Where would they beat me here? Where would you get that bruise, blood from the ears? Da, da, da. There are so much. Imagine if someone asks you to say, all right, we're going to do a medical show. And we're going to do a surgery. You're going to cut open a body. see them really going up and down your body? You are the makeup artist, and it is your job to recreate an open torso. Is your right here? Can you imagine what you have to learn? You have to learn biology. But you know the beauty about it? You need artists. If you are artistically inclined, we need you. We need you in special effects. We don't have enough special effects makeup artists. Frequently we need tattoos. And we need artists to do this for us. We need more special effects makeup artists. Men, because you hear makeup, you think glam, lipstick, mascara. We want artists, people who can create these things, make them from papier-mâché. The other day, when Kurt was making his film in February, and I was not available, could not find a special effects makeup artist. I had to then teach my sister the night and help her during using video chat for her to be able to carry all the work that he needed to get done. So we need special effect makeup artists. So I'm encouraging you to look into it. But for what you're doing here, because we have a lot of screenwriters, what I want from all screenwriters is to push it. Go beyond the basics. Because you do have a special effects makeup artist here. And it will encourage other makeup artists to study it. Go beyond the average. We did an underwater green creature. And that is creativity. We need to show the world what we can do. Things are getting boring. Films are getting boring. What we want you to do is to stretch your imagination. What you dream about can be created. Animators work with the special effects makeup artists. So there are times when you will find that the creature is there and the creature flew all the way over, and the animator picks that up and puts it to another level. So even though we all need to work together, we still need more people in the industry doing things that we can show. We can show them what we can do here. And they're bringing in too many persons to do the jobs here when others are here to do it. And as a result, persons are not encouraged. So we want you all to be mindful of what is necessary. When it comes to doing a film, we're all important. Sometimes the makeup artist on the mind. We don't need makeup, it's the first thing we cut. We just need a piece of paper to wipe off the face. Remember the cameras that we're using. You do not look the same. You will see pores that you never saw in your life when it comes to some of these cameras. The lights will show you things that you go back here, I never saw. That's your skin up. So it is necessary. Don't overlook the importance of it. But I do encourage you all to encourage your friends and everyone else who may be interested in art to think about the special effects makeup. Any questions?
In terms of marketing yourself, so you say, sometimes just not enough people, you can't find anybody. But then on the flip side, you're seeking opportunities that you can't find them. And I don't want to sound harsh, but film adverts in Jamaica can oftentimes get to be cliquish, and it's hard to break into. So like, how do you market yourself? What would you suggest finding opportunities, makeup artists that you could shadow, and through them, their mentor to you, and you find opportunities? Like, what do you
Special effects? The special effects?
And both sides of filmmaking.
Well, when it comes to glam makeup, it's saturated.
It is.
So where that is concerned, it is very difficult at that point because everyone is doing glam makeup. When it comes to production makeup, what you would need to do is to find out who's in the industry. It is difficult because most of the time you need only one makeup artist. They don't necessarily want another makeup artist there if they don't need it because you're not adding costs. You understand? So you can assist, but even if you're there pretty much just to look on, if you have to be careful not to get in the way. What I found with most productions, they are quiet in a sense that they don't want a lot of people on the set. They only want who needs to be there. So a lot of times when I think of taking a makeup artist, I have to be very careful. We have had sets where we don't, and I think your persons here who worked on that set, and up to this day I don't know the name of the shoot. Am I right there?
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. And speaking of a shoot that we did, that up to today I don't know the name of the shoot. Exactly. We don't know the name of the shoot because they don't, it's a secret. You have to remember, commercials, these things are generally quiet. So they don't necessarily like them bringing on tag-alongs, as it would be put. You understand? So there you have, it's a very difficult place to be, but that is the best way to get on, is to actually to work alongside. But you have to be willing to work for free. You have to be willing to work for free because the budget, we are very tight on budget in Jamaica when it comes to production. No matter how big that company is, the budget is generally quite tight, so they have to be very, very careful of how much, so they will not be able to pay you if they don't need you. So that is one. Any more questions? And we have a variety of questions. Yes, sir.
On the tattoos, I don't just get somebody to design the fake tattoos.
Exactly, and that is what we need. We need more artists, persons who can, and we have to make guns, and guns need to look nice, and that is what we need. So when I have tattoos to do, I then have to consult with an artist. I have an artist that I work with from Vietnam, and all he does is art, and that's it. And how we do that is that we have him draw the art using henna. I had to figure out that one took me a while. I was doing King of the Dancehall, and I was not able to figure out how am I going to get that same thing to stay on that person for up to a week. And that's when I thought, henna. So what I do, I get him to use henna. He draws it using the henna, and every day I trace it over using the colors using a Sharpie marker. Simple.
Life hacks.
But one of the things, you have to have common sense. Because no two jobs is the same. You have to figure things out. You have to create, you have to use your practical thinking, and hence the importance of art and craft in schools. It is underrated. Art and craft, no, let me tell you, art and craft causes people to think outside of the average. It makes you create in your own home. At table, food gone, it makes you think of how to put it back on and what can I use. But it is extremely important. I'm very disappointed in how it is not being promoted well enough and it's being taken for granted. If you have to even do a presentation, your creative mind, you cannot be like everybody else. And art and craft helps you to be more creative. You look at things that are generally thrown away and you will find ways to make things of that. And that is why when you become a special effects makeup artist and you're thinking, okay, I need some vomit. The director's not going to tell you what to make. What are you going to do? Ask somebody to give you some real vomit? You understand what I'm saying? It seems simple until you're given that task. And that's when you think, okay, let's mash up some banana, get some yogurt. But then when you, but you gotta figure it out. Figure it out. So when you're in school and you're young, you're the youngest one in the room, this is not something you want to take for granted. All right. So basically, I think we have a good idea of what it is that we're getting at here. It's a very important part of production. Yes, sir.
What's the most challenging, special effect makeup you've ever done?
Yours, probably.
Mine.
No. Um, the Green Man was a bit of a challenge, but
Remember, that's not my film, that's Kyle Idle's film.
Okay, so you're backing up. That's all right. One of the things that I find, and that is why when you're formally and properly trained, and you have a good understanding of what you're to do, it makes it simpler. So when you say the most challenging thing that I had to do, because I think I would have been it for the most recent, and that's one of the things, and I'm gonna ask you screenwriters, I need some challenges out there. And that's what I'm asking you, push it, because what I was at, and I wish I had a picture of it, what you're at, what I needed to make an underwater green, what was he?
He was like a half fish, half...
Yeah, a mermaid boy.
Yeah, a fish boy.
Yeah, a fish boy. You see, you understand how complicated that would be now? Where first of all, he had to be waterproof. Then that is it. We had to. That was a challenge. He had to have webbed fingers. So he had to be green with webbed fingers, green eyes, glowing, shiny, all that. So that was probably one of those things that I would have said.
I was impressed by the webbing, because when you started the makeup, I remember going, how is she going to do the webbing?
When you asked me, I thought, what am I going to do? That's the first thing you did. How am I going to do this? And then you think, and how I think is that I have to think everything out before I start. And what I ended up doing, because he had to be able to use this, it had to be there for hours, and going water, all of this type of thing. So I ended up using latex gloves, using Prozade glue, and blended it with latex, cutting it out. It's wow. But the beauty about it is that the end result, it looked really good, and that's where you get all the satisfaction.
Speaking of satisfaction, like, where is it that you feel more fulfilled or feel more fulfillment? In glamour makeup or the special effects makeup?
All right.
Which you're more gravitated to?
The challenge, let me tell you, when I get a complicated job, I can honestly tell you I get very nervous. Initially, I get nervous because I don't know, am I going to be able to do this? So it makes me scared for a moment, and then I have to settle down, and then you figure it out. So, but then when the outcome, when you get that is so fulfilling. It's exciting. You understand? I did this video many years ago for, what's his name that sang that song, Dirty Man.
Oh.
I had to get cold, heart, and liver, and it was latex on the face, and so you do have these crazy moments, nails coming out of the face, and these type of things.
Yeah, that's the next question. How you decide what materials you will need to create these effects?
Based on training. When you're trained, you will have an idea of what can do what. If it doesn't work, and you have to try it, and that's why we need time. We have to try it sometimes. We have to then see if it will work. And for me,
because you must have a lot of trial and error.
Yes,
episode.
that is why we need time. It can't be done on a set. The crew have the time to sit and figure this out and wait on you. Those are the type of things that we need. When I express needing some time, this is some of the things we need time for. But that is why it is important to get proper training. Because we do have a lot of persons who are trying to study it on YouTube, but there's some things you'll never understand unless you've gotten the proper training for it.
And where is proper training?
Unfortunately, not here. We do have some schools that are training persons, but it's not what you need. It wouldn't be at the level that you need. So, for instance, you need prosthetics done. We don't have someone here doing that right now. And prosthetics would require a mold being built for the face. You need to make a mold for the face, take it out, it has to be dried, get prosthetics poured into that. Where you see they put that mask on, that is a specialized person in special effects. That person, whenever we do our international shoots, that person comes specifically for that alone. Or they don't even come. It is sent to them, they do it, they send it back, and then the special effects makeup artist then applies it. So these are places that, when you get to do this, it can do very well for you, unfortunately abroad, but not here. So when you also speak of marketing yourself because it's not lucrative, generally special effects in Jamaica, you cannot survive on special effects alone. It's not going to happen. So that's why you do it on the side, along with doing your makeup or whatever else it is that you're doing. Or industry needs to grow where that is concerned. Majority of the time when we have international films, they send their special effects makeup artists, and you may work as the assistant because of the prep. They've had to prep before they get here. Yes.
I have a question. So I figure this is a technology that's being used out here, yet as a makeup artist, what do you think about the use of de-aging technology to make people younger?
Okay, well, I'm aging. However, technology can do that. Technology is pretty much killing the industry for us in some cases. You understand? When you have a graphics artist who can just sit there, they don't need a production. They can do an entire commercial with just graphics alone. But it can be done with that, with the aging. However, it is a graphics artist that would have to be able to get that done. But where it comes to the aging, where you're going to have like an actual acting, you need special effects makeup artists to do that. That's definitely. But I do a lot of aging. A lot of aging is done, especially for times like, and for commercials, we do have that. And then that's one of the things that we have to mention also when we're looking at the script. Continuity is extremely important. Continuity is everything when it comes to your makeup. You have to take photographs because you cannot make a man have a bruise today and by tomorrow bruise is gone. And then he gets it back further on in the scene. Remember, they're not shot.
Or it's switch
You
sides.
understand what I'm saying? You have to be there. When the director is there shooting, he doesn't have the time to think about that. He just needs it there. So you have to, that is your job. And you have to make sure that you're up on your game because it can cause a lot. That will do the film. Think about it. Lighting is amazing. Everything was done. But you're watching a film and the man got a cut and by tomorrow the cut gone and he come back next week. Right away you messed up the film. And this is what people look at. People even look at the lighting. People don't think about who directed the film. They're looking at the actors and they're looking at what they can see. So you can mess a film up. So that is why it is extremely important, especially for the directors, to meet with your makeup artists. Have good dialogue with them because they need to bring your vision to life. And when you appreciate that, it makes it much easier for you to do your job, but we all work together as a team.
How early in the production process would you like to see a script?
As soon as you've confirmed that you want to use that makeup artist. Because when makeup artists have enough time to prepare, end of the day, everything is ready. So, on that note, thank you very much, everyone.
All right, Cathy, thank you very much for that presentation. I'm sure we learned a lot. I know I did. guess one other question, but you know what? I'll take it off here. I was going to say, like, what should someone budget for a makeup artist?
Well, that's a good question. Because no, that's a very good question. I'm going to jump on that. You know why I'm going to get back to that? The first thing is that we can't afford a makeup artist. The first thing that we can't afford is special effects makeup artist. But you don't know how much it's going to cost. Or when you ask them to do it, do you wonder why you have to pay so much? You brought up that point earlier. The material, the right things, if you're not going to use ketchup for blood, it can be expensive. Now the thing is, if you want it to look good, you need to get things that are created for that. Unfortunately, they spoil. We have to order it. Some things cannot come on a regular flight. It can only come, and that's another thing where we need the time, twice a month. You have a dangerous good flight, remember that, twice a month. We've been there. And these things cannot be sent down regularly. There's some things that just cannot be shipped even across the America. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I should have asked before. So you were talking about developing that good relationship between makeup artist and director or whomever. And it's really important because, like, for example, somebody called me the other day, a couple of days before the film, they want a guy, big splashes across his face. And I'm like, okay, was it that scissors? Was it that knife? Was it that bear? And I'm like, so, you know, just some big gashes. And then they sent me a picture of the actor, and they just drew the marker, basically, an X across the face. Now, not realizing that a picture is flat, and a person has contours to the face. It's not going to fall straight like that. You go down onto the neck, it's not going to fall. So when I come on the day and I couldn't even get to meet the person before, I tried to explain to you, here because I'm exactly done. If I change it up, he can't look the same way because that's a picture and this is a human being. And they're offended. And I'm not trying to offend, I'm just trying to tell you that that painting is not, it can't.
No, man, I understand.
So like, what do you, how do you approach this situation?
Your job is to explain to them what is really possible. When you cut a person straight across the face, the nose is now open. Your nose is open. So it's hard sometimes for you to make it practical, but then you also best for you to suggest what would work. Because sometimes the suggestion is just slightly off. Cut here and cut here. He still gets his X, but just not across the nose. If you're going to ask him to cut across the eye, renders a different face because his eyes are going to have to be cut and his nose are going to have to be cut. So when you suggest that you cut it from here to there, he can still get what he wants, but you have to suggest what it is that you're able to do and what will be practical, but not take away totally from his vision. Because when they have a vision and you take that away, it is not, it throws them off. It throws them off totally. Yes, you need to suggest. You can't rubbish what you're saying because that is very disrespectful. But no, but we've had the tone where it's like, we expect you to do that. Yeah, because that doesn't make sense. Not the right way to approach it, but you're thinking it. Like, you really do it. But then, no, first of all, you have to think carefully. I never like people to criticize without having a solution. To just say it can't work. Why? Why can't it work? So what do we have then? And most of the directors will work with options because they know that you don't have a magic wand. So let's get the magic wand.
Cathy, you seem to have a huge wealth of knowledge and Sorry, let me take it back a couple notches.
Yeah!
Okay, you seem to have a fruitful amount of knowledge on, on special effects, and there seems to be a dire need for makeup artists, meaning that they're just heavily specializing in glamour makeup, that they need to be trained No, I'm not sure if you've done it before or if you're thinking of doing it, but have you thought of, creating your private workshops or workshops geared toward maybe having 5, no more than 10 groups of 10 at a time of makeup artists and teaching them, training them in special effects?
Well, what happens?
Based on
It takes a lot
history,
of time. It takes a lot of time, and I don't want to dedicate to something that I would not be able to complete, because it's a class. It's a school. It's not just average makeup. It does take a lot of time. So it would have had to be something that I lock off at that time, and then they would have to be able to pay, because the material is expensive, and it's never practical for you to teach someone with substitutes. For me to learn it, I had to buy everything that I want, everything on the list, and it's expensive. But then it's something you just have to bite the bullet. And then now you think to yourself, am I going to earn this back? No. You're not going to earn it back. I'm telling you that straight up. You understand? We don't have enough here to do it. So for them to pay, they have to see where they're going to make the money back. So by the way, like I said, the only reason it's expensive, and it's not expensive. What I suggest what I do now is that I generally give you the list, right? I give you the list, didn't I? And then you order what it is that you need. The reason we do it this way is because generally we don't have them, they're not staying in the kit. They're spoiled. And what I would do, if you want, you keep it. For you can use your blood. Sometimes you need a little blood, just do a little short thing. You don't need no makeup, a special makeup artist to do that. Put it in a little thing, you get to keep it. It's yours. But I do it that way because that way you get to see what you're paying for. You don't wonder why it is that I'm paying so much money for this one bottle. You see exactly, see there online, that is exactly how much it costs. That way you understand why it is that we charge. And then you sometimes just charge for the service. Yes.
So in terms of like a range, what is the rate of what special effects makeup artists per day?
Alright. It generally, special effects is you charge based on what you have to do.
So that's a range.
It's not gunshot wound is not a green man. So it
because I was going to say, like, if you had to do 5 gunshot wounds, that's going to be completely different from you need to do 5 zombies.
Yeah, it all depends. What I have to do is to look at what it is. Now, for me, how I do it is that if I'm going to be the regular makeup artist on the set, depending on what you're doing, I might just put it in. Especially if you're paying for the material. But then in some cases, it may just be a little bit more because depending on how much you have to do. So it generally is to your benefit because if I have to do something, majority of the time, once you're using that on film, once you're there, I have to be there with the work. Until you're finished shooting that, then I can leave. Because you don't want to put something on and then it starts, or sometimes they're brushing. Sometimes you cut them down to lunch and by the time they come back, it don't look the same anymore. I have to be there for the maintenance of it. So to pay me separately for my time, sometimes it's not to your benefit. So it all depends on how long I have to be there, but it is not exorbitant. And the reason I don't charge you an exorbitant rate is because I understand the budgeting of our Jamaican films. And I don't want you to leave it out. It's like when you really want it to happen, I really don't want to see the catch up on the little thing. I really want to see it well done because I'm passionate about what I want the world to see Jamaica can do. So I will undercut myself just to make it happen. Yes, ma'am. All right, first. Okay.
But like for like the most simple day of work, like what do you deserve to get paid?
Yeah, no, it's not like. All right, first of all, because we're going to do a minor gunshot wound and leave, pretty much leave you, so you shoot that on the there, I probably charge $5,000 for that. And that is below regular makeup application. You understand? I just do not want you to say, we don't need it and then you draw that. That would kill me. And then you say, oh, that came out of Jamaica. So I may charge you something just as simple as that, because I really, and what really works against me is that I'm very close to most of the directors. So it's generally a thing where they have to make it work when you get me. Yeah, so I don't depend on special effects. The special effects is not what I depend on. Definitely not. I just want it to happen.
It's etiquette consultant and image consultant.
Yeah, you can't depend on that, right? Yes, ma'am.
You do international drawings?
Oh, yeah.
So, from an international based point, then how do you charge them? Because they can't pay you.
It varies. Generally, they tell you how much you get paid. Am I right there? You generally get told how much you get, and just take it or leave it. And if you leave it, they'd rather bring someone in.
And the general
Fly the person in, give them per diem, put them in a hotel, because you won't take what they need.
Don't give us the exact figure.
Like a
like
range
an estimate.
or an estimate, approximately.
See, they're touching it. He's the person who does all that. He is the boy you want to see the person. That's why you see me keep looking over there every time I say money, I look at him.
And I don't want to say something that's
No, that's what it's no, but it's very difficult because one shoe will offer you one thing and another shoe will offer you.
So I just looked up online and it says that a half day raise is $400 plus the key. And a full day
Tell him, say, no, listen, please tell them, say.
$600 plus
Please tell them, say, don't work so. $400 here. That's not. Hello, please.
You're so passionate to say that's not how it works. So then tell me how it works.
No, I can tell you. Look here. Listen. What they pay your hair when you're coming to Jamaica, they're not paid us anything even close. No way. You like it for $100 half there. Plus the gift.
It's one of the directors up here that you probably haven't before.
No. There was a 400. Jamaica. I'm sorry, you were trying to say something, my love.
No, I was just saying it makes sense because like an extra can be paid in hundreds in the US for a day's work, depending on if you're part of the guild, depending on say in the US. But then so the numbers that you're seeing, that numbers that doesn't sound local at all.
No. It's a 2,000 Jamaican dollars.
plus lunch.
Full day.
They get lunch.
No. Let me tell you.
12-hour day.
Let me tell you what they will do. They'll call you. And they will tell you how much they're offering you.
Okay.
And you take it.
Or you leave it.
So
And then you think about all those special effects work that you're doing every day. Just flooding in.
I mean, there's another one that says, and on average, a professional makeup artist, not special effects now, it may cost between $90 to $500 nationwide, depending on the services, depending on the skill level.
No, so we make more than No, delete that one. We don't know. I'm not going to be burning their hustle for that kind of money. No.
Right. So where would you say where's a range that you think is fair, at least to say it shouldn't cost it? You shouldn't have to leave your house, and you have your bills to pay.
Let me tell you, I would not leave my house, and that is it. When you go and do it and leave, it's quite different from having to stay there. And generally, if you have to stay there, I think it's most practical to get a regular makeup day rate.
Right.
And what's the rate?
Oh, you want a regular makeup day rate? She said, when they ask about special effects.
I want to hear the money.
Look here. My regular makeup day rate. And let me hear her. What is a regular makeup day rate, Darren?
On average, could pay as low as, like for film and TV, I guess between $25
35.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to hear about how much charging. Anyway, my regular day rate is 25,000. My regular day rate is 25,000. However, it also depends. I'm not forgetting. It depends on how many days also. If you're going to be working like 2 weeks, 6 weeks, then you may then take 20,000 a day. You understand what I'm saying? It also depends on what you're doing. For me now, I do hair and makeup. You understand what I'm saying? So based on that, I will go up to 30 or 35. Because what you have to remember, if I'm going to be actually doing proper makeup here, because sometimes it's just to brush up here to make sure, you know what I'm saying? Right. But if you're going to be doing hair and makeup, it is to your benefit to hire somebody who will do both if it is not a major job. Because instead of paying 25,000, you pay 10,000, and I get 35, but yet it costs you less.
Yeah.
So on average, 25,000, but I charge 25,000. I'm told people charge more, but that's my
So when you're doing special effects, is that sort of, if you're, and you're staying, is that your base plus the kick fee you say as your
The kick fee thing don't work in Jamaica. I don't want to give her, I'm losing blood now to get
All right, we're just going to take two. Yeah, we're just going to take two more questions and then we'll move on.
Yes, I wasn't rushing you by the way earlier.
No, that's fine.
So normally when we talk about the industry, most creative industries in Jamaica, we always come to that block point where no, we can't do it full time, to live because of like how the system is set up. We can't make enough money this way or whatever. So how do you think that going forward, we as a community can get our standard up to the point where we have our creatives living off of their salaries that they live from?
No, we do have creatives living off of it.
Meaning because there's some organization that said, oh, as a makeup artist, you can't.
No. What happens is that everything is different when it comes. Every position is different. If you have to think about it, some cannot be duplicated easily. You understand what I'm saying? When you have a good lighting man, it is not anybody you can just bring up and say, okay, we're going to do lighting. You understand? What the problem is where makeup is concerned, think about it. We have one school, we're putting on makeup artists every 6 weeks. And we put now 40 makeup artists every 6 weeks. Everybody going on YouTube, makeup is getting saturated. And that is why my edge is with special effects. Persons are forgetting that I do regular makeup. Right? So basically now...
Darren, just talk behind the column.
Go back. Because like... that. But the fact is that that is where we're having a problem. I have strongly considered coming out of makeup. Nope. Go back to corporate. I've strongly considered going back to corporate. And that's what caused the problem this year. When I decided to do that for a while, it caused the... I'm sorry. I'm back. Okay? I'm back.
That certain person told me that you're their go-to. So.
Yeah, it did cause a bit of a problem. Right at that door. James Bond and all. But the point is, I'm back. And but it gets difficult. It does get difficult. You have to be able to survive off of it. What is what you choose to do.
So you were saying that you wouldn't charge the same for your special effects? So
it depends. If I'm doing a day with you and you ask me to do a bruise, think about I just not have
a day's work of special effects.
What would be a day's work? Regular. In Jamaica, what you mainly get? Cut, bruises, aging, gunshot wound. These are main things we get.
And what's the highest I can go up to?
The highest you go up to? Those to me are basic.
Okay, so the lowest, your minimum.
That's what I said. Minimum is just let me do the work at daily and I go give my
They're asking her to go and play secrets.
No, that's the whole point of it here because they need an understanding of it. No man, I don't know that. It is no man, and that is why I'm here. I want you to ask these questions. It's just that it's so difficult because everything is different. That's why I have to give you an example of cuts and bruises. You wouldn't really charge more. The most I'll do is probably say, depending on how much and what it is that I have to use. Right? Say, for instance, you're going to get that, what is the name, the Get Alive cut.
Yes.
Right? If you want to do that now, I would have to charge something for that because that is what I tell you, that can't even come on a regular flight. Because it's expensive. It's as simple as it is. But you're going to have a bruise, a gunshot wound,
So like
pain.
like with pus and the whole.
Yeah, something like that, I put more money onto it. That depends on how much. And it also depends on how long they have to use it through the day. Because the longer they use it through the day, sometimes I have to even remove it and do it over. Yeah, because the heat, Jamaica is just not the same as the other countries. The heat is a mess.
I was trying to figure out if they were spoiling because they just
Yeah,
weren't
man.
being used frequently or if it was because of the heat.
Do you know that you will take someone and set in the morning and by night it's done, it's messed up, can't use again, it's hardened.
So how do you, is it that you're able to get the wound to look exactly like it was before when you have to fully remove it?
Next time.
Like damn well better. You better do it. It better be identical. That's why you take pictures, and you have to remember everything. You make logs. Everything have to be logged. What if you drop down there? Okay. The next person picking it up have to read all your notes, check your pictures, and be able to recreate it. Suppose you come out to a set of something that somebody else did. You have to recreate it. It's not.
Last question.
So Walking Dead side you. And
Pardon me?
so Walking Dead tries to side you, and then Fast and Furious tries to side you. Which one do you think?
So you say if Fast and Furious produces and Walking Dead produces.
Oh, Fast and Furious! Why do you think I would choose Fast and Furious over Walking Dead?
Walking Dead is
Walking Jesus!
Walking Dead is too much work.
What if they were paying you the money for the work?
Walking Dead is like a team of 20.
But those are some of the Walking Dead makeup can take days.
No days! And that's why you have to get specialists to come in.
It's not a question, but like.
What if they were paying you
though?
though?
Walking Dead, another problem I have is like the actors. They don't realize that if I'm not just putting a basic makeup on your face and you're supposed to have stomach, I need you to come earlier.
No, that's not their job.
No, the actor.
That's not their
You have
job.
to come for a contact that you can do that in let's say let's say the director wants him at 10 o'clock and the director wants a basic person also at 10 o'clock. Both persons can come at 9, you know what I mean?
Alright, that is where, remember you asked me about learning set etiquette? When you learn set etiquette, you have to learn production. When you learn production, you need to learn roles and responsibility.
No, I'm not saying I said their come time.
No, the actors don't set it, the directors don't set it, none of the directors set it. No! No.
No, what I'm saying is,
a producer set it. They will nobody has called you. They call you and they ask you, how much time do you need? That's why you need to know your business. No. How much time do you need this?
You're talking on a set where like everything is nice and structured and that's good. But you know sometimes like you just don't know somebody for something.
No, but in that case,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Sometimes you just doing it to help there and you're like, alright, you can't.
Well then don't leave that point. I blame you for that. No, I need you to listen carefully because you want to get into this role. You are an actress. You want to get into the role play. You want to get there, right? And you direct. That is where that was your fault.
You say don't take on
if they don't have a producer to call you and say, okay, we're going to be doing this, that, and then you say, it's just a little set. Your responsibility is to tell them how much time you need. When you get a call sheet and you see talent is supposed to be on at this time, makeup come at this time, and you're supposed to start shooting, you then call somebody and say, they do what they're supposed to, at least a producer. This is not enough time for me to get them ready for this shot. That's your job. You don't just gonna say, oh, I don't come early.
No, what I'm saying,
You understand?
what I'm saying is when you call them and say, this is not enough time, and you're like, why not enough time? Because that's what I'm referring to. Like they don't get that.
No, man.
This takes time, and
No,
so
man.
that's why I'm asking.
You just let them know first it will take me at least an hour to do it. If you ask for the time, you think you're not going to ask the person to come early because they want to start on time?
In this situation, they're like, why?
Meaning that they can't start earlier?
Why come earlier? That's what I'm saying.
No,
But
that's
things here where
it
it's
was
like,
happens, no, man.
they don't understand the importance of it, so they're not going to try to do it earlier.
No, but then in that case, you just explain to them that this is the time it takes. When I get here, I'll work as fast as I can, but I cannot guarantee that I can do more than less than an hour. But how you communicate has a lot to do with it. You just let them know I will do the best I can, however, because none of the words are, how much I get it? I told you I need to do that. So, yeah, you need to, but you have a great responsibility. Nobody can tell you how much time it's going to take you to do your job. Nobody can tell you that. So it is for you to communicate with them your needs and what time you need. You have to let them know.
All right. On that note about time. Very good discussion, and if you guys have more questions afterwards, you can. Anyway, so yeah. So next up we have Joshua Paul. Joshua Paul is a director. You know, he's he's a very good director. He's directing some excellent short films. And he decided to take his career even further and do a master's in directing. So, Josh, want to tell us about your experience as a director?
How's everybody doing? Good. So I'm Josh, and what I'm talking about, the university experience. So I recently did a degree in directing, a master's in directing in London. Just came back 2 weeks ago, and it was very, very different, as you can imagine, in comparison to production like here, because let's say Jamaica, there's like a lot of loopholes, there's a lot of, you know, gateway to play with in terms of production. For example, when you're making a bill based on the work you actually do rather than like by hour, because like makeup artists in the UK, like they're like, yo, this is how much you pay me by hour. And you have to kind of put that down in your budget and work everything out. So it's just like a whole different, you know, framework when it comes to production. But from my personal experience as you know, in the directing cohort, there were 30 directors at the school, and there were 15 cinematographers, 12 editors, and 16 producers. So essentially, directors were actually the most at the time. And you know, as I asking why like is directing so big a deal? Why is everybody wanting to do directing? But you find that a lot of the students that were in my class, they were like 21, 22, and they had just graduated with like a bachelor's in film, and their parents were telling them that they should do this because it's essentially directing is like, you know, like how medicine and law and engineering is freed away in Jamaica. Directing is like the thing for production in the UK. But then the irony is that when you come out of a master's in directing, they usually end up being a PA for years because it's all about the work you've done, the links you have, the network you have, and overall, if anyone's going to back your project, and you know, if you can rise up through that. So yeah, my personal experience was good. When I first landed, the first month in, I felt like I wasted my money because the degree cost me £20,000, which is like $2 million or so. And I remember saying to myself that this money could have been pumped into making 2 proper short films. And I could have, you know, just like network my way through and make some more contacts. But then I was saying that, no, clearly there's a reason I'm here to learn something. So I was there, and, you know, the first month it felt a bit redundant. But then afterwards I learned a lot of different things that like I would have never like, even dreamed of. So for example, there's this concept called result direction. And it's essentially what almost every director in the world does, and they don't know it. Where when you see a scene in your head, say for example, Cathy and Amanda, I envision you two in a scene, and Cathy found Amanda with her man or something. The typical thing is like you envision, oh, it's gonna be explosive, it's gonna be emotional, it's gonna be like, why you with my man, right? Whatever the case may be. And that is result direction in the raw essence of the word, where it's like you want results. You want exactly how you see in your head. But that's not directing at all. Directing is actually understanding your characters, the backstory, the details, the facts, the verbs that you want to give them in terms of employing certain emotions within the scene, and they have to execute that the best they understand the character. And that's why when you learn that type of directing, things like makeup, for example, become such a big deal, because as Cathy was saying, like the director usually meets with the makeup artist light years before production time, and you have like intricate. So I'm envisioning like, in this scene, some bruises under his left and right eye. Reason being because the facts that happened to this guy, in the narrative is that he got beat up. And, then now Cathy would bring her expertise and say, oh, we need this and that and that. So it's like understanding your characters, understanding your talent, understanding the story. And that was really cool. Learned a good amount of that. And from there, we did a corporate video for a company in London. I ended up shooting an advert for a homeless shelter, which was cool. Worked with a cinematographer from Scotland, worked with editor from France, worked with producer from South Africa. A good exposure, learning the different ways of like the other side apart from film. You have what Jamaica specializes in media and corporate work, which a lot of people end up just doing. And then but then for the final project now, so all the directors had to make a film, and this film is worth 60% of your grade. So if you don't do well, it shows up on your actual degree. And I remember the school doesn't give you any money to make the film, but film is super expensive to create. You need money for everything, especially in London, where if you want to rehearse with actors, you have to pay them the same rate you pay them for a day's work, which is like £100, which is like 10 grand, not Jamaican or so. Exactly. So essentially, it's like I came up with this concept where I wanted to tell the story of this girl that plays violin, and her dad has Parkinson's, and how she deals with that. Couldn't do it because the budget was £20,000. So the thing is that ended up making another story about a black father in London living with his daughter, and his daughter gets kidnapped. And we made a budget, £4,000, went to crowdfunding, tried to put myself out there, they actually made the money. And then, surprisingly enough, everything just kind of fell into place. Met with my makeup artist, met with, the actors, had 2-3 days of rehearsal, and yeah, I made it, and it was a good experience. I learned a lot. Like, for example, in London, you can't work with a child actor unless you've been cleared by the police. So the police need to clear that you're fit to work with kids. And then on top of that, you can only work with kids for like 5.5 hours in London. If you go over that, you can get fined. All kinds of drama compared to here, where it's like, you want to shoot with a kid. They just bring me in and it's just, if the parents are cool, you say, you pay them the money and you pay them.
They've got school tomorrow, they can stay till midnight.
Exactly. And then if they're staying for an extended period of time, they need educators. So they need tutors to teach them, and you need a separate toilet for them. So I remember we were shooting a scene at the park, and there were no toilets at the park, and I was like, all right, how much are we gonna pay to get one toilet for the cast and crew? That was £80, which you do the max, that's like multiplied by 200, that's my max is 16 grand, whatever. So we're like, cool. But the child actor needs a toilet for himself because of hygienic issues. So the toilet needs to be cleaned differently for the child, and that's the toilet for the child only. And I was like, double the money. So it's just it was very intense, I must say. But overall, a lot from it, and now it has actually supercharged me because my mentality is that I wanted to stay in the UK and work in the corporate for a bit and get some contacts, but I realized that is actually not the best route for me, particularly because if I'd stayed in the UK, I would have probably had to start from like the way bottom to try and get my way up again. So instead, like what I'm thinking of now is I'm working on a screenplay for my first feature film, and I'm going to try and get that done within the next 2 years because I feel I'm ready enough to take on that kind of challenge given the training. So yeah, it's been a great experience, and if anyone is thinking about studying or doing a master's or a degree in production, then I think the biggest question to ask is what do you hope? Well, do you have the money? But also, what do you hope to achieve or attain from that degree? Because at the end of the day, the degree is just a piece of paper. It's more about how you apply yourself, and it's more about the films you make. Because the films you make tell a lot about who you are as a creative and what you can do, and if people should hire you for the next job, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think I've said enough.
Next question.
Yeah.
Okay. You've worked here, you're cultured here in production. Based on your experience there, what do you intend to change with your way of directing and operating as a director here in Jamaica? What would you definitely do differently?
Definitely do differently. Well, from the start, from the bat, it's from the director's perspective, because the director is one that he controls the acting, the talent. So it's kind of like ensuring that the actors understand the story on the same level that I am as a director. But then apart from that as well, it's like the paperwork, of course, the shot list, the planning, the meeting with people ahead of time, and I think it's just being meticulous in terms of everyone being on the same page. But then again, I did that before, so let me... No, go again. Because, so you're saying, what would I do differently, given what I've learned from in London?
Yeah, operate, I said. How would you operate a production differently?
How would I operate a production differently? Alright, so it boils down to set etiquette, in the sense that, like, no, I wouldn't micromanage again, right? So I'm kind of more expecting people to know what their job entails, in the sense that the director doesn't really talk and set too much. The director's not going to be shouting all the place. That's the first lady's job. It's more like, what does the director do? The director takes a story and is trying to create the story and create a visual, element of it. And it's giving instructions to the actors, making them understand the story. But then the crew as well, it's working with the crew. So the DP is the director's best friend. The DP and the director are supposed to be on the same wavelength. The makeup artist, So I think in terms of what I do differently, it's more just ensuring that I've covered all my tracks. And I did that before, so I feel like I'm not answering your question so well. I think it's just how I do it now. Yeah, overall. So I wouldn't be... I wouldn't be result directing. I wouldn't be, and that's a thing as well. You have to keep in mind who you're working with. So, like, Jamaican actors may not understand the result direction and direction. They may think that if you're a director, tell me what you want and I'll do it. So it's being smart about it and trying to test the waters, make sure the actor, understand the character, or making them think they understand the character, if that makes sense. Hard question. But yeah.
What did you get your undergraduate?
Film production. I did a bachelor's at UWI in Trinidad. Yeah.
And then, I guess this is, when you spoke about your experience, you had mentioned the age of most of your cohort who were doing the directing track. So, that made me assume that you were older than them. So is it that, because one of the things I think about in finishing a degree and looking forward to doing a master's, there's of course different scholarships that you can access after a certain period of time maybe, and that those come with their own guidelines and rules, but then there's also the option of working public and then financing your education that way.
Yeah.
Did you have a particular strategy going into fighting that 20 grand?
I didn't, to be honest. No, I was working at the time and I was saying to myself that the work I was doing, I wanted to kind of still work as I wanted to make films. And I remember the masters came up as the perfect opportunity for me to make films in a foreign country and to see how they do it. So I didn't have a full-on strategy, but I did see a couple of scholarships that I applied for, and I got through with a half scholarship for one. And then it was just money that I had saved, as well as depending on parents. So I'm in a bit of debt now, so it's kind of rough as well. So like you can see, I didn't really have a full-on strategy. But I guess to kind of take from your question is that if I think work experience is just as important as a master's or any degree altogether, because what you learn on sets is invaluable. From the jargons to the set etiquette, everything, you can't even really learn that in school too much. In school they teach you like the lexical, the theoretical. It's like, ooh, this is what you do, and then of course you go out to make films and hopefully you apply that well. But it's more so set experience and experience in general in the work field. I think is just as important, and that's why like it's good if you could do some before going into the masters, because it helps you give an edge over other people who think you just do a bachelor's and then do a master's and then boom, you're the ish. Yeah.
It's funny because you speak presuming that the degree is usually the track that people think supports to get a job. My understanding is the opposite. The experience is the first thing that maybe you can do in school. But what is the value of going the school track and then looking for the experience? And would you recommend it? Personally, I did media production in Japan, and the first thing that my professor told me was, none of you guys need to be here, but since you're here anyway, let's do some production. And that was kind of how we started in freshman year. So, would you, like, after going through all the way to masters, would you recommend it?
I would. I mean, there are pros and cons, and the reason why I recommend it is one, you're in a space where you have likewise creatives, and there's nothing as refreshing but also challenging and competitive as that. When you're in a room and everybody else sees themselves as the next Scorsese, you're the next, big director, it's like, whoa. You take a step back and you want to collaborate with them, you want to work with them at the same time, it kind of refreshes your mindset. And then also, apart from networking and meeting new people in a degree, I think also what the main purpose of any degree in life, I think, is to prove to people that you are diligent and educated enough and refined to be able to apply yourself in any role. So I think a master's in film directing or in cinematography or whatever kind of also tells people that you have a bit of sense where you know what is expected. At least you're expected to be expected, that kind of thing. So I think overall a master's is definitely a good route to go. I wouldn't necessarily say it's like 100% needed in film, because I know film directors who say that film school is crap. Like successful filmmakers that say that film school is crap, but then now going to film school, there is like a certain level of, you get something from it as well that I think is invaluable, that helps you to develop your films better than if you were just working in your bedroom typing scripts,
Well, how long were you working in the industry after your first degree before you chose to do your master's degree?
I was working 3.5 years. Yeah.
Well, mine's not a question, it was just more adding on to your point that there are pros and cons. You can achieve the same thing in going either let me just learn it through experience.
Yeah.
And the school route is just that when you go to school, there's, like you said, there's the discipline.
Yeah.
When you learn on your own, there's a tendency where you kind of just learn what you want to learn, or you learn what comes natural to you, and things that are too hard, they don't tend to learn.
Yeah.
Or you learn them at a later point when you realize, man, I really do need this. The school kind of sets up the structure for you to learn it now and get it over with, so that when you get out there, you're not making very expensive mistakes.
Right.
And the other thing that I was getting from what you were saying is that the masters wasn't even so much just about the knowledge of filmmaking, but it was also the knowledge of filmmaking in your territory.
Yeah.
Because I can just imagine that you might be a great director, but then if you come to the UK and you're breaking certain rules, that could be very expensive for a production company.
Absolutely.
After hiring and going, this dude doesn't know what.
In fact, I'll say one major perk which the film school I went to offer was that we were able to work with professional actors. Now guys, I'll tell you, when you're like a director and you've worked with like a Jamaican cast, for example, who haven't really touched international waters just yet, it's a different vibe because it's a bit more familiar, it's a bit more chill, it's not as pressure. But imagine you're in a room and like actors come in and they're coming in on the clock and they're like, if you result direct, they judge you, for one. They don't accept that. And then secondly, it's like, they're like, all right, you know, they have this attitude, this kind of thing where it's like, what are we doing today? And it's your job as a director to try and make them understand the character, but also kind of like make the mood a bit more like comfortable and easy to work with because it's a collaborative thing. Because I had the last short I did in London was like I had 3 professional actors on set, and one was a woman, one was a guy from Ireland, and they were like very stuck up. They were like, oh, you know, like, oh my God, what kind of thing is this? And I had to come in and I'd be like, hi, good afternoon guys, so thanks for coming. This is the project, you've read the briefs, right? And they'd be like, yeah, get right into it, tell them what I was thinking about the facts, tell them what I was thinking about the characters and the intentions. And then at the end of the day, they're like, all right, let's do this, let's work. You know, so it's like being able to work with professional actors as well, it's a totally different tone and type of mood. Yeah.
Alright, so you kind of touched on it a little, but generally I'm asking, how do you compare like the talent pool between England or where you were, London, Jamaica, and do you think we are far off from creating a film industry person?
2 different questions. Well, the first question in terms of differences between talent, I think there is a massive difference. We have
all categories, meaning acting and technical.
Okay, well, acting, because when I'm thinking talent, I'm thinking actors. I think there's a difference, and you have really good actors that are here in Jamaica, but overall, it's the attitude, I guess, it's the training they have. Like, I'm not sure, like, because you know you have Enderman and you have certain institutions, but overall, the training institutions, I don't think it really kind of train people that much in terms of acting for film. So, like, overall, yeah, you find just the attitudes a little bit different in terms of how they understand characters a bit different here. Over there, it's a bit more, and then mind you, you have bad actors over there as well, but, you know, you have actors that are very serious about what they're doing, and they do it as their only thing for their career, and they're very serious about it as well. So I think overall the level of seriousness of the job feels a bit more pressured over there. I hope I'm answering your question, Sam. And then in terms of crew, well, I don't think I can answer your question the best, because the crew I've worked with for most of the productions over there were fellow students from school, and they were decent, they were really good because we had gear and they were good at what they did and they were very knowledgeable and that kind of thing. But I've seen great crew here as well, so I don't think crew is really, I don't think there's a major contrast there.
Okay, and then second question, do you think we're far off in terms of as a film industry?
As a film industry, I think we're a way off. Reason being because, I mean, simply put, an industry is there to produce, and you want to be seeing content. So if we're an industry, technically we should be seeing at least 3 to 5 feature films from Jamaica per year in cinemas, and not just necessarily in Jamaican cinemas like Caribbean, but ideally in other markets as well, actually generating income and, you know, standing on its own. And that's why we have such a struggle for like special effects makeup people to be making, they should be making a living from that alone, because that's like a crazy field where if you're in the UK and you're doing that, you're probably directors. So it's kind of like, it just goes to show that, yeah, I think the industry has a decent way to go. But I think the good thing is that, like, there's initiative here, there's drive, there's a lot of people that are enthusiastic and charismatic about it. And if we just continue making films, and whether short or feature, whatever, films that are decent and people can watch and enjoy, I think that's in the right direction. And then it's just kind of putting money in there as well, because, you know, money makes the world go round.
Can I just tack 2 things on about the difference in talent pool, acting talent pool specifically? There's nowhere in Jamaica that trains actors for film.
Yeah.
They only train them for theater, and that's a totally different kind of art. So I think the direction that we should go in is to try training actors for that. And also on the matter of the industry there versus the industry here, we're this and they're Goliaths. And no matter how good we get and no matter what our output becomes, even if we're doing 4 or 5 features a year, we could never compare ourselves in terms of magnitude, not quality, but magnitude to a UK. So I don't think we should try to compare ourselves in magnitude, but quality.
Right. I think it was just answering the question as if we do have an industry. where we just need to make that one quality film. You know, just have something there and keep them coming. So yeah.
I must attest to Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts. They do teach an acting for screen and TV course there.
In which school?
At Edna.
No, in which
School of Drama. Yeah.
That's relatively recent because until last semester I was in partner with them.
I did 2 years ago.
Hold on. Speaking of all that, I think there's that communication gap sometimes is there, and because Edna does have a lot of things. And when I was starting university, I actually went to the school physically because I couldn't find the information I wanted online from music. I went to the school physically, and they told me the people.
Than what you see, yeah.
And that's frustrating because I literally up until last night was looking for some evidence of a acting for film class at school, and it was really hard to find anything on the website. I couldn't find anything, and so transparency so that we can see, because it frustrates makeup artists, it frustrates directors, it frustrates screenwriters and that thing. And of course, JAFTA has been a lot in helping to kind of deface people and kind of remove all these screens. That's what kind of not screens. That's a kind of yeah. It's a real issue. It's a real issue.
This is alright. We're all passionate about it, so I'm still gonna be listening. It's absolutely true. So even though I made that statement, it does exist. But I can tell at the time when I was doing it, I did see where they could improve on that program, that course of study. Because really and truly, the person who should have facilitated or teach that course didn't come through, and it ended up being the head photographer that ended up being the facilitator of that course. But he had experience on sets from, he was from the UK. So, G. Right, so he taught me there. Now, just to shimmy over to that comparison.
Sorry, he moved away, he went back to the UK, so maybe that's why they don't have it again.
Oh. How I came about knowing about the course because I do acting coaching sessions every now and then with Pierre Lemire, who was once the director of the School of Drama. So that's how in one of our coaching sessions, he's like, hey, there's this course happening. I think you should just try it as a supplement and that kind of thing. So that's how I knew about it. But in terms of comparing the pool of talents there and here, and this is my personal observational opinion of the actors in Jamaica, we have a lot of actors, hundreds of actors and actresses in Jamaica, a lot of non-working actors and actresses in Jamaica, and a certain portion, but can I tell you, not to broad brush it too much or overgeneralize, but generally, actors in Jamaica, they don't see the business side of acting. They don't take it seriously. I don't know if they don't perceive it or they're not aware of it, or they don't embrace it, one of the three, right? But it is a real thing. And if you don't take the business side of acting seriously, you're not going to get the traction that you're looking for or the progress that you're looking for in your acting career or journey or whatever it may be. So, yeah, meaning something as simple as even, what's her name, Missy? Catherine, when she spoke about some of them having a stipulated call time. I've seen that happen many times where they don't even take the, and even in terms of certain pages that you should look into, certain contracts that you should teach yourself about, even looking to solicit certain persons to be on your team. Like if you're an actor, there's certain things that are imperative to be marketing yourself, like having, films done and things like that, where sometimes actors, they wait on filming opportunities to come by, or they may, in other words, build a team You know, if you know a lawyer, if you know a videographer, if you know a makeup artist, like build your team as an actor, like have a team of people you know you can go to and have them on your team. Create your IMDb page, all of those things. Have your business cards, all of those things. Even have something as an actor's resume, your biography. A lot of actors don't know about these things. When they go to auditions, they don't even have their bio with them. You know, so it's just about going in front of the screen and playing a character. That's cool, you know, but that's just the icing on the cake. That's just a cherry on top, you know, so, yeah.
All right, so we can't stay here all night. So we're actually, our time is well
Can I just
over.
add one more, just one more point? And
we
this
have
is very
like
important.
3 other people that wanted to say something.
Okay, no, this is the last point. I'm answering his question. You even have cases where a production actually starts in the active production process, and when they're supposed to even turn up on set for their scene to be shot, they're going to even be telling the director on the day, oh, they're not going to bother to come, they're not going to bother to do the character. I've been a part of productions where I've seen that happen, and it's a waste of everybody's time. So, yeah, that's it.
So, because of the time, we have to wrap up. So I would just say, if any other questions, you know, we can take them outside. We can spend as much time as we want outside. In here, yeah, no, yeah, sure enough, amazing. In here, discussions. So, just in any other business section, we do have a writing lecture coming up, and it's going to be taught by Ludo Smallsley. He is a story editor from the UK. He's been here about like 3 years in a row, essentially doing a film lab, and this film lab it trains writers, story editors, and producers, right? And this is specifically for feature film. So he's coming here to do a lecture, and this lecture is actually public, whereas the film lab is kind of narrowed down to 15 persons, 5 writers, 5 editors, and 5 producers. This lecture is public, and it's going to be in the first week in December. Is that right, Anna?
It's the 17th.
The 16th, so second week in December. So December 16th. So you'll hear more about that via email. Anybody who's not on our mailing list, just check them. So I can put you on the mailing list so that you can be abreast of that. And lastly, we would like to say congratulations to Joshua Paul and Said Thomas for their recent, what was it again? Joshua, remind me.
The Euro Connection.
Euro Connection, yeah. Right. They did a script called Black Girl in the Ring, is that it? Yes. And it's essentially, is it the finalist or is it?
They're the Euro Connection for the first time in 2020 being opened up
Right.
5 international projects outside of Europe. This year, JAFTA is collaborating having opened up the Jamaican project for
Right.
submissions, and Claremont Run chose Black Girl in the Ring. And so the producer-director team for that project are now the first Jamaican project to ever be pitching at the Euro Connection market in Claremont Run in February.
So, yeah, man, wish you guys luck and rep Jamaica well. All right.
I will make an announcement.
What kind of announcement?
This evening there is a social event that's like just starting, and it's called Passion Fruits, and it's at Oak Cocktail Bar and Lounge on Hillcrest Avenue, which is like where they have the Kingston Night Market. It's in there, and there's gonna be women DJs and everything, and it's $1,000, but it's happening already right now. So I'm going to go there, and I just want to let you guys know because it's all about like creative people networking and stuff. Hillcrest Avenue, number 8.
Hillcrest.
Kingston a nightmare.
All right, guys.
Kevin is
Yeah.
out.
Thank you all for coming.
Everyone.
Let's go outside and we can continue the conversation outside.